One strange interaction can be dismissed, two can be coincidence. But eventually, you notice something more disturbing. The same response, arriving from multiple people who have never met each other. Same phrases, same hostility, same moral framing. Same certainty, different mouths, one atmosphere. That is when you realize the vessels are not isolated, they are assembling. Welcome to Mysterious Encounters. Last night we identified the carriers. Tonight we track what happens when enough carriers begin moving in synchronized rhythm. This is the assembly. At first the awakened assume each encounter is separate. A comment here, a coworker there, a family argument, a social media pile-on. But over time the emotional signature feels identical. Not just the words, the energetic pattern, the speed of escalation, the refusal to process nuance, the instant crowd confidence. It begins to feel less like dealing with people and more like stepping into a pre-existent field that activates whenever certain truths are spoken aloud. The individual is merely the access point. The field is the real entity. The assembly does not require formal meetings. It is built through distributed synchronization. Algorithms feed the same emotional stimulus. News cycles frame the same acceptable reactions. Influencers preload the same language packets. Social reward systems punish hesitation. So when a trigger appears, thousands respond as though signaled from one invisible center. You see this online first, then in workplaces, then in friend groups, then in public consensus itself. Opinions no longer spread organically. They detonate. That detonation is assembly behavior. An assembled field has one purpose: to overwhelm isolated cognition. A single awakened person can withstand one disagreement, but 20 synchronized responses create another effect entirely. Self-doubt, fatigue, social pressure, speech hesitation. The assembly does not merely argue, it swarms, and swarm logic is ancient. Birds move as one body, fish turn as one body. Now human discourse does the same. Once enough vessels lock into shared activation, individuality becomes visually present but functionally absent. Many faces, one movement. Every assembly implies a center, even if no one sees it. People do not synchronize this tightly without repeated directional feeding. There is always a signal source, a narrative source, an emotional source. The participants may believe they are acting independently, but independence does not produce mirrored timing at this scale. This is what terrifies the awakened, not that people disagree, but that disagreement now arrives with the precision of coordinated deployment. The center remains invisible. The perimeter does the work. When the assembly is active, reality itself feels bent. Because consensus becomes performative architecture, people begin repeating claims they have not examined, defending positions they barely understand, attacking questions they have not honestly heard. Why? Because belonging to the assembled field matters more than private reasoning. Truth becomes secondary to alignment, and once alignment outranks truth, social reality can be manufactured almost instantly. This is no longer persuasion. This is pressure-generated reality. Enough synchronized humans can make the absurd feel untouchable. The first instinct is panic, the second is silence. But the awakened eventually learn something critical. The assembly feeds on visible emotional destabilization. Its objective is not dialogue, it is absorption. If you begin reacting inside its tempo, you are already inside its field. So survival requires slowed breathing, slowed speech, slowed thought. Do not match the swarm. Observe it, name it, refuse synchronization. The moment you stop trying to win approval from the assembled field, its psychological power weakens. The assembly is what happens when enough vessels stop acting like separate people and begin functioning like one social organism, different bodies, shared activation, shared script, shared enforcement. You are not always being confronted by individuals. Sometimes you are being surrounded by a field, And fields do not debate, they engulf. The vessels carried the signal, the assembly gives it mass. Next week we ask the next question, who designed the field? Next file, the architects.